Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to a brand new video. This is 2 days in a row. I don't know what's going on. We're back. Today we're doing playoff predictions, and on one of these sides, you will be seeing, probably this side, you will be seeing the bracket that MLB.com gives you, their bracket predictor, and we're going to be going along and predicting the MLB postseason 2023. We have made it. We are here. We have about a month left of baseball, but it's the cream of the crop, and that's what you can only really ask for. So we're going to start off on the American League side. We're going to start off with the very first game of the day, Tampa Bay and Texas. And I mean, Texas, going into this series, Texas has to be down on themselves. They dropped 3-4 from Seattle, a team that they basically embarrassed a week earlier. They had the division on locks, and they lost it, and they barely make the playoffs. And yeah, here we are going into the Trop against Tampa Bay, the Rays, the team that everyone hates to play. You got to go into the House of Horrors, the Tropicana field. And I think there's a little too much to overcome here for Texas. I think they could get off to a hot start, but their bullpen, it's just not a postseason bullpen. Hell, it was barely a regular season bullpen. That's what cost them the division, was the bullpen. I think it's going to be difficult. Playing in the Trop in the playoffs is way different than playing in the Trop in the regular season. And I got Tampa Bay moving on, 2-game sweep. Pretty simple. That's what most of these wildcard game series are anyways, is just 2-game sweeps. So we're going to move on. Going over to the 6 seed versus the 3 seed. It's Toronto versus Minnesota. And yeah, here we are. I mean, these are two pretty evenly matched teams. Toronto's pitching and Minnesota's pitching are pretty equal in a sense. I definitely like Toronto's bullpen a bit more than Minnesota's. I also haven't really watched much of Minnesota's bullpen. Plus, they don't have Byron Buxton on the playoff roster. Royce Lewis is not 100%, and Correa is not 100%. They're dealing with a lot more stuff on a kind of sluggishly offensive team. I know they just picked it up the last month, but I mean, look at who they played, you know? They didn't really play teams that are good, you know? So, yeah, there is that. I don't know, and I think I like the punch of Gausman Barrios a little bit more than I like the punch of Lopez and Gray. Game 2, that's legacy game. You know, there's a storyline there. It's for Barrios. It's save your team season or eliminate your old team. I don't know, man. Minnesota's a team that's long overdue. I don't know, man. I just don't know if they can get it done. I think I got to go with Toronto, a 2-game sweep here. Just over Minnesota. Not their year this year. Yeah. Going over to the National League side, we got Philadelphia and Miami. And now this is my series. I love this series. This is my series that I think out of any series, besides obviously the Toronto series, the one series that I'm really excited for is Philadelphia and Miami. Miami, boom, here they are. The core has arrived. They're doing what they need to do. They did it without a really great Sandy Alcantara this year, which is shocking. I believe they got Jesus Luzardo on the mound today, and then some dude named Garrett tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure on his name. The Phillies are walking with Wheeler, and then I'm not really sure who game 2 is. I don't know if it's Nola. It might be. And then, yeah, you know, Philly and Miami, I think are a little bit more evenly matched than people want to admit. I think this series is a way too close for comfort. If you're a Phillies fan, I think you would have preferred Arizona. But here we are. And I mean, I'm probably way wrong here. I just think the pitching matchup's a bit more here based on regular season numbers. And I know that means nothing going into the playoffs. I know Philly's got that experience. There's just something about Miami. They scream lovable underdog, you know. And I think Miami takes this series 2-1. I think the pitching matchups favor them a little bit more. Obviously, Philadelphia's offense is potent, but they have Luzardo, who's a lefty. I believe Garrett's a lefty, which means guys like Castellanos, Stott, and Bohm have to kind of get going, and they're going to have to carry the offense a little bit more compared to guys like Harper. I mean, Trey Turner's got to be in there. I think Stott's a lefty. But the lefties are going to struggle a little bit more just because lefty-lefty matchups. That's just kind of usually what happens. I think I got to go with Miami 2-1 here. So, yeah, that's a full series. 3 games, all used. Then we're going to go over to Milwaukee, the 3 seed versus the 6 seed. Milwaukee for Arizona. Arizona is starting, I don't even know how to say his last name. They're rookie for game 1. And then I believe it's Gallen and then Merrill Kelly. A really weird choice. Having Gallen for game 2 and Kelly for game 3. If they can win game 2, they win the series. But I don't think they do win game 2. I think Milwaukee's pitching. You got Corbin Burns. You got Freddie Peralta. You don't have Brandon Woodruff, I believe. So that hurts a little bit. They might not have him for the whole playoffs, which I did not realize before making my bracket that I'm looking at here. I think I got to go with Milwaukee in a 2-game sweep. I love Arizona's offense, but Arizona has stumbled for the last month and a bit here. They haven't really played great baseball. They haven't played their first half baseball. We knew that was unsustainable, but they haven't played fantastic in the last little bit. So I think I just got to go with Milwaukee here. I'm going Milwaukee in 2. Milwaukee gets the sweep. Moving over back to the ALDS, we got Tampa Bay and Baltimore. Baltimore storming in out of nowhere, and Tampa Bay just being Tampa Bay. And I love that Baltimore's good, sort of, not really, but I also don't like it when teams lose 130 games. That's just not fun. But I think the experience that Tampa Bay has, I think that helps them in a series like this, where it is more of a full series. If it was Baltimore-Tampa Bay in a wild card series, I probably would lean with Baltimore. But this is a full series. Tampa Bay knows what it takes to win. This is a team that was in the World Series in 2020. They're consistently in the playoffs, making noise or trying to make noise. I just think this team, they have what it takes to win. I think Tampa Bay edges out Baltimore 3-2 in a 5-game series. I think when it comes down to that game 5, Tampa Bay just knows they have what it takes. They have that it factor. And I think I just got to go with it. So, yeah, Toronto and Houston is such an interesting series because if Toronto can hit a little bit, they're good to win that series, in my opinion. That's just what it is. I just, when you look at it, Framber Valdez, Justin Verlander I don't even think Lance McCullers is back yet. He might just be back. Christian Javier, I don't know. There's something about the Blue Jays pitching this year and their defense that just kind of makes me think that they should be the team to kind of continue going on. Similar to what Philly was like last year, that wasn't really a team that anyone expected to make any noise or do anything, and they ran their selves to the World Series. I think Toronto can take out Houston in 4. Toronto wins this 3-1. I just think in Rogers Center, if you can take one at Minute Maid Park, and you can come back to Toronto for Game 3 and Game 4 tied at 1, it's hard to go against Toronto in that sense, The Rogers Center will be bumping. This team will have finally won a playoff series, and I think they'll have what it takes to get through. If it goes to 5, it would be Houston, but I'm rocking Toronto 3-1 here. Going over back to the National League side, we got Miami and Atlanta. And Atlanta's had such a good season, almost too good of a season. I would consider it similar to a 2019 Los Angeles Dodgers season. The team that lost to the streaky Washington Nationals, the team that really brought it on. They lost it in 5. I don't know. Miami seems a team of destiny. I'm rocking a Miami 3-2 win. I think Atlanta comes out firing in all these games, but I think Miami just finds something, They the playoffs is a series, like this is a time where players make names for themselves, and there's a lot of players on that Miami team that haven't made their names present in October baseball. Like Jorge Soler is one of really the only guys that's there. Josh Bell sort of has been there. They got that leadership there. I like it. I just think, Jazz Chisholm's going to try and make a name for himself, There's guys there that don't quite yet have that name for themselves, and they're going to try and make it. And they're kind of a team, like, what do you have to lose this year, Whereas Atlanta has a lot to lose. You don't want to be the team that wins 103 games. You're the best team in baseball by just a wide margin. You don't want to be the team that loses. But I think they do. Over into Milwaukee and LA. I got to roll with the Dodgers here. I did want to roll with Milwaukee. I did think that was a good thing, but knowing that Woodruff is out and they really only have 2 starters, I do love Milwaukee. I think they're a fun team. There's just something about the Dodgers this year, man, that there's something there that's weird. They also don't have great pitching, though. Like, their pitching's kind of in and out. Kershaw, Bobby Miller, Emmett Sheehan. That's kind of all the names I'm rattling off the top of my head right now. But their guys have been there, and I don't really like Milwaukee's offense compared to the Dodgers' offense. You got MVP runner-up in Mookie Betts. You also got another MVP finalist probably in Freddie Freeman. Will Smith, one of the best catchers in the game. JD Martinez, Chris Taylor. I mean, do we need to go on? Everyone in their roster has been there before, and they have gone to the World Series. Most of their roster has a ring. Dodgers win this one, I think, 3-1. No, 3-2. 3-2. That brings us back over to Toronto and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they're just a better team going into the Trop. I don't think Toronto can win a playoff game in the Trop, even if they wanted to. But I got Tampa Bay moving on 4-2 here. The Jays played the Rays really well at the end of the year, but the Rays in the playoffs is not the Rays in the regular season. You can't outraise the Rays in the playoffs. I think the Rays win the American League, and they go back on to the World Series. But who will they face between Miami and the Dodgers? You got to roll with the Dodgers here, unfortunately. I think Tampa Bay and LA rematch for the 2020 World Series. I just think the Dodgers get this one done 4-2, 4-3. I do think Miami puts up a good fight, but ultimately they fall short in a few games. Dodgers 4-2. For the LCS MVPs and everything, I will do that at the end of the video. Going into the World Series, we got Tampa Bay versus the LA Dodgers. And there is something this year with Tampa Bay. I don't know what it is. I like Tampa Bay's squad. They've overcome so much stuff, especially late. They lost Franco due to his things. They lost Jose Siri. I believe he's out to injury. They've lost a lot of guys to injuries. They keep losing guys. Rosarena wasn't feeling that great. Yandy Diaz hasn't been feeling that great. Manuel Margot, I mean, if you watched him in center field again in this final series in Toronto, you thought he'd be blind or something. But they just keep overcoming it. I got Tampa Bay winning this in 7 games over the Dodgers. Tampa Bay wins their very first World Series. I think that's probably the most likely outcome here. For the ALCS MVP, I got Harold Ramirez. For the NLCS MVP, I think I got to roll with Mookie Betts here. And in the World Series MVP, I'm going Isaac Paredes. I just think there's something there. I could also see a Randy Arozarena. That's another thing. You got to mention Randy Arozarena in the playoffs. Way fucking different. So, there's the bracket. There's everything. Game 1 of Tampa Bay, Texas starts in just a couple hours. It's an all-day baseball fest, so let's get in, let's get going. And, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you guys are brand new to the channel. And I'll catch you all next time for playoff previews once the Wild Card Series is done. Peace!